Total darkness. No moon. No stars. Just the suffocating black of a jungle canopy so thick that night becomes absolute. Sarah's hands are shaking as she grips the flashlight. The battery is dying. Around her, something moves through the undergrowth, slow, deliberate, circling. Her breath catches. In the distance, a branch snaps. "Turn it off," Marcus whispers. "We can't waste it." The light clicks off. Darkness swallows them whole. 75 days. That's how long they would be trapped here. 75 days between life and death, sanity and madness. And on this night, day 12, they still had no idea how much worse it would get. This is the story of how 5 ordinary people survived the impossible. 3 weeks earlier, it seemed like an adventure. Sarah Chen, a documentary filmmaker. Marcus Webb, her cameraman and best friend. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a botanist studying rare medicinal plants. And guides, 2 local brothers, Paolo and Ramon, who knew these mountains better than anyone. The plan was simple: 10 days deep into the Amazon basin. Document undiscovered plant species. Return home with footage that would change Sarah's career. They ignored the warnings. The weather reports showing storm systems building. The rumors from village elders about the Green Maze, a section of jungle where the old trails disappeared and compasses spun in circles. Superstition, Sarah had said, laughing as they loaded supplies into their packs. Paolo hadn't laughed. But he'd taken their money anyway. Day 4. Everything changed in minutes. The storm came without warning, a wall of rain so violent it turned the jungle floor into a river. They ran, following Paolo through trees that all looked the same, desperately seeking shelter. Then Paolo stopped. His face went pale. The trail, it's gone. The water had erased everything. Every marker, every landmark. The GPS on Sarah's phone showed their location as a blank green void. No cell signal. No satellite connection. Just endless jungle in every direction. When Ramon tried the emergency radio, static answered. He tried different frequencies. Adjusted the antenna. Nothing. The humidity had destroyed the electronics. Marcus said what everyone was thinking: how far are we from the extraction point? Paolo looked at the featureless canopy above. Maybe 3 days north? Maybe west? I don't know. That night, huddled under a makeshift shelter of palm leaves, Sarah did the math. 10 days of food. No way to call for help. Search parties wouldn't even start looking for 6 more days. Elena's voice was barely a whisper: "We might die out here." Nobody disagreed. The jungle doesn't kill you quickly. It dismantles you piece by piece. First, water. Rainwater collected in leaves became their lifeline. But it was never enough. Dehydration turned their lips to cracked leather, their thoughts to fog. Second, food. The protein bars ran out after 11 days. They tried hunting, fishing, foraging. Elena identified safe plants, but none satisfied the growing emptiness. Marcus caught a snake on day 16. They roasted it over a smoky fire and divided 5 ounces of meat between 5 people. It tasted like survival. Like desperation. Third, shelter. Every night, they rebuilt their camp as rain destroyed it. Termites devoured their wood. Ants invaded everything. Paolo developed infected bites that swelled his arm to twice its size. Elena cleaned the wounds with boiled water, but without antibiotics, she could only watch and pray. The jungle was patient. It could wait. Day 28. Marcus stopped talking. He'd sit for hours, staring at nothing, occasionally muttering about his daughter's birthday party he was missing. Sarah tried to reach him, but he'd just shake his head and look away. Elena's optimism cracked next. The scientist who once marveled at every species now saw only threats. Every shadow held a jaguar. Every rustle meant snakes. She slept 2 hours a night, eyes wide, jumping at phantom sounds. Arguments erupted over nothing. A misplaced water container. Someone eating slightly more than their share. Old resentments surfaced. Marcus blamed Sarah for pushing the expedition. Sarah blamed Paulo for losing the trail. Paulo and Ramon spoke in rapid Portuguese, excluding the others, building walls of language and resentment. On day 35, Sarah found Ramon alone at the stream, his face in his hands, shoulders shaking. "I want to see my son," he sobbed. "I want to go home." Sarah had no answer. She wanted the same thing. That night, she heard Elena whispering prayers in Spanish. And Sarah, who hadn't prayed since childhood, found herself joining in. Day 47. Marcus collapsed. They'd been walking, following a river they hoped led to civilization. Marcus had been getting weaker for days, but he'd insisted he was fine. Then his legs simply gave out. Fever. Elena checked him over with shaking hands. A deep cut on his leg, something he'd gotten days ago and never mentioned, was infected. Badly. The skin around it was black and red, radiating heat. "We need antibiotics," Elena said. "Real medicine. Or he'll." She didn't finish. They had a choice: keep moving and risk killing Marcus, or stop and risk never being found. Sarah made the call. "We stay. We build a signal fire. We make ourselves visible." For 3 days, they kept massive fires burning, sending smoke into the sky. Paulo and Ramon took turns climbing the tallest trees, scanning for aircraft, for anything. Nothing came. On the third night, Marcus's fever broke. He'd survived the infection, but he was too weak to walk. They'd have to carry him. And Sarah realized something that terrified her more than hunger or predators: they were running out of time. Out of strength. Out of hope. Day 72. The rain returned. Not a storm this time, a deluge. Water poured from the sky like the jungle itself was drowning. The river they'd been following swelled, climbing its banks, turning calm water into churning chaos. They moved to higher ground, but Marcus couldn't walk. Sarah and Ramon carried him while Paulo and Elena carried the supplies. Every step was a battle against mud that grabbed their feet, against exhaustion that made their legs scream. Then Elena slipped. She fell hard, tumbling down a slope, her pack flying open. Their water containers scattered. Their remaining food, palm hearts, dried fish, Brazil nuts they'd painstakingly gathered, disappeared into the flooded undergrowth. Paulo managed to grab Elena before she went into the river. But everything else was gone. That night, shivering in the rain with no food and Marcus barely conscious, Sarah felt something inside her break. "We're not making it," she said. "Are we?" Paulo looked at her. His face was gaunt, hollow. But his eyes were still fierce. "3 more days," he said. "We give it 3 more days." Day 75. Morning came with birdsong, a sound they'd stopped hearing weeks ago. Marcus opened his eyes. Elena stopped shaking. And through the trees, impossibly, came a sound that didn't belong to the jungle. An engine. They stumbled toward it, screaming, waving their arms. A boat, a research vessel traveling upriver, spotted their desperate signals. The crew's faces showed shock. 5 skeletons dressed in rotting clothes. Sarah had lost 40 pounds. Marcus couldn't stand without help. Elena's hands trembled uncontrollably. But they were alive. The rescue team said they'd been searching for weeks. The search grid had expanded to hundreds of square miles. They'd almost given up. Almost. They returned to a world that felt alien. Clean water from taps. Food in abundance. Beds that didn't crawl with insects. But the jungle never truly let them go. Sarah still dreams about the darkness. Marcus holds his daughter closer now, understanding how fragile everything is. Elena keeps a small pouch of jungle soil on her desk, a reminder that nature doesn't negotiate. The 5 of them learn something profound out there, something that can't be taught in books or classrooms: survival isn't about strength. It's about stubbornness. About choosing to take one more step when your body screams to stop. About believing in tomorrow when today offers nothing but pain. The jungle taught them that humans are both weaker and stronger than they ever imagined. Weaker in body, civilization makes us soft. But stronger in spirit, because when everything is stripped away, when death becomes a neighbor you see every day, you discover a will to live that surprises even yourself. Paulo said it best on their final night in the jungle: the forest doesn't want to kill you. It just doesn't care if you live. So you have to care enough for both. 75 days. 75 lessons in humility, in gratitude, in the thin line between giving up and pushing forward. They survived because they refused to let the darkness win. And sometimes, that's the only difference between those who make it home and those who don't. The jungle is still there. Waiting. Timeless. Undefeated.